Hello and welcome to our Audit Review Committee meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Can we have confirmation of posting and roll call, please?
Yes, thank you. The agenda was posted in accordance with Nevada open meeting law. We have 2 members that are absent, but we do have a quorum.
Thank you. If you could please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll now open the meeting for public comment. Anyone who's in the chamber may come up to give public comment. This is for 3 minutes regarding the things that are on the agenda. You may also call in at 702-589-9629. There is no one in the chamber who would like to do public comment, but we will be waiting for the phone. Again, that phone number, if you would like to call in, is 702-589-9629. Okay, see no one in the chambers, and is there anyone on the phone? And no one on the phone at this time. We're going to move forward with our agenda to item number 1, the possible action and approval of March 5th, 2025 minutes. Do I have any motions for this?
I move to approve.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
A second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, great. We have the approval of the minutes. We'll move on to item number 2 for possible action, a presentation, discussion, and possible action to recommend that the City Council accept the financial statement audit and annual comprehensive financial report for the year ending June 30th, 2025. And I will turn it over to our Finance Director, Cynthia Sneed.
Thank you, Chairwoman. I would like to spend just a brief presentation here to talk about what this document is so that people have a clearer understanding. And then I'm going to turn it over to our audit representative to give her presentation. Yeah, one more. There we go. So the document is the Annual Comprehensive Financial Report, and or we call it the ACFR as an acronym. It is the financial statements for the annual activity of the city for the year. And what makes it comprehensive is that it is not only the financial statements, it includes a lot of introductory material, analysis of management, and a statistical section that is not necessarily audited, but it gives some really great information, historical information of the city. So the introductory section includes a letter of transmittal and a list of the governing body, who all the elected officials are, as well as management, an organization chart, and very proud to say our certificate of achievement for excellence in financial reporting, which is issued by the Government Finance Officers Association, something we strive for every single year. The second section is the financial section, and that includes the auditor's report. And what we always look for there is, we hope the desired outcome is a clean opinion. We call it an unmodified opinion, stating, Crimson will go into more detail on this, I'm quite sure, but it is an opinion on whether those statements are materially correct. Can we rely on those financial statements? And then it includes the management discussion and analysis, which gives some background as to how things changed and why they changed. And then the financial statements themselves for the government-wide, the citywide, as well as individual funds that get rolled up and consolidated into those financials. Accompanying that is the notes to the financial statements, which is very critical. The financial statements themselves have summary numbers on them, and to get a better sense of what's really behind those summary numbers, that's where you find that detail in the notes. So that's an important part. And then we have a required supplementary information and other supplementary information to further describe the financial condition of the city. And the last section is the statistical section. Has a lot of different schedules in it, and it contains a 10-year historical comparison. Some of the summary financial statement is repeated in there, but then it has all kinds of information about property taxes and utilities and debt and all kinds of good information. And then very proud, as always, to talk about the Triple Crown Award. The first one listed there, the COA Award, is the Certificate of Achievement, and that's the one that is specific to this document that we're talking about today. So that's that. And with that, I am going to turn it over to Crimson Singleton. She is with the audit firm and the in charge for the audit. Also, I wanted to make a shout out to Amara. She's our accounting manager and the primary staff person that is involved in this process. So.
All right, thanks. We got a short slide presentation here, and as we're getting started, just wanted to, as you saw, this report, there's a lot of work that it goes into it. It's over 150 pages. So it's, in addition to our work as the auditors, it requires a lot of work for Cynthia and Amara and all of their team members. So we appreciate all their help to get this audit done. It's a lot of extra work besides just keeping the day-to-day city running. So we appreciate all of their efforts and all of that they do to help us. So, yeah, thanks to them. So, and as we're going along, if you have any questions, feel free to jump in. This is a fairly high-level review, so I won't go into a lot of detail, but a little bit. So, so as Cynthia mentioned, on page 11 of the financial statements is where we issue our auditor's report, where we express our opinion on the numbers, the financial statements, and there was an unmodified, or in other words, a clean opinion. So that's the best result you can have. That's what you want. So good job there. And then there's also a report we're required to issue on internal controls over financial reporting and on compliance. That's on page 162 of the audit. And there were no findings. There was one item from the previous year that was cleared up. So as was mentioned, Amara's only been here a year or so. So there's a lot of learning. There's a lot that Boulder has going on. So those items got cleared up, and a lot of the accounting was addressed before we came in as auditors. So that was cleared up. So no findings there, so that's good. And then as part of our audit, we're just required to issue a report. It's called a communication with governance letter, and it's just high-level stuff. There's nothing of significance that I wanted to bring to your attention, but hopefully y'all received a copy of that letter. If not, Cynthia has it. So, okay, and then let's see. So, first off, we'll just go. So that's the report. So now we'll go over to some fund highlights. The governmental funds, those are on page 32 of the financial report. Their change in fund balance was $18.1 million compared with $10.8 million. So that was an increase. Revenues were $76.1 million, which is up $3.7 million from the previous year. Some of that increase was due to intergovernmental revenue that was up about $2.4 million, and a lot of that was from Regional Transportation Commission revenues in the Acquisition and Improvements Fund. So that was some of the increase, as well as rents and royalties income on the receivables. They were up, on lease receivables, they were up $2.2 million. And then expenditures were down $4.1 million. So those are some of the reasons why the city had some increases there. Revenues up, expenses down. So that was good. And then we'll look at some graphs in a minute on a couple of the funds. And then the proprietary funds, change in that position was up 9.6 million to 9.6 compared with 13.1 million in the prior year. Operating revenues were up 1.1 million. Operating expenses were down 2.4 million. And capital grants were down a little bit, and that was mainly due to airport fund that had some significant amounts received in the previous years for taxiway, and so there's less revenue federal funding received because the projects were pretty much done. So now we'll look into some graphs. So there's what we'll be looking at on these graphs is the fund balance or net position, and those are basically the assets less liabilities equals fund balance or net position. So it's kind of the governmental term for equity. So here's the general fund. That top line there is unassigned fund balance. So those are things that there's no ties to that revenue. It can be used however the city would like to use it. As you can see, it's been trending upwards a little bit the last few years. It was up 3 million this last year, and that 29 million represents almost 8.6 months worth of operating reserves based on the fiscal year 25 expenditures. So industry standards suggest to have at least 2 to 3 months. So you've got almost over 8 months of reserves there. So that's good to have a little bit of cushion there. That middle line is the committed fund balance of almost 7 million. And this is for emergency reserves. So in addition to the unrestricted, you also have these emergency reserves that could be tapped into if needed, 7 million. And then the non-spendable is the bottom line, and that represents inventory and prepaid, so 540,000. So overall, the general fund is in a healthy position there. And then this is one of the other major funds for the year, the Capital Improvements Fund. And all of these funds are restricted, and it was down 12 million, dropped down to just under 11 million. And this fund accumulates resources related to the sale or lease of the city land, and proceeds are used for voter-approved projects. And the large decrease this last fiscal year was due to a $17 million transfer out to the swimming pool fund. So this one can kind of vary depending on what projects you have going on. Sometimes you'll accumulate resources to be used for a big project. And then this is the utility fund net position. So that top line, the blue line, represents net investment in capital assets. So all of the infrastructure, if there's any vehicles, that type of thing, less any debt used to outstanding debt that's used to acquire those resources. So this one, it has been trending up. It went up 5.7 million to a total of 69 million. There's 7.7 million in additions, capital asset additions during the year. There was 4 million in depreciation on on all the existing assets, in addition to almost 2 million in debt payments during the year. So as debt's going down, capital assets going up, the balance is increasing there. And then that middle line is the unrestricted, and so that's funds that can be used. It's liquid, while the previous those net investment and capital assets are tied up in infrastructure. These are more, the unrestricted is more of the liquid assets such as cash, accounts receivable, and those types of things. And so you can see that one's been trending up as well. It's up to 57.3 million, and that represents 23 months worth of fiscal year 25 expenditures. So we're in a very good position there, have a lot of excess there to be used as needed. And then that very bottom line, the 1.6 million, it's stayed the same. It's restricted for capital improvement projects. All right, and then this is the aviation fund. The top line, again, is the net investment in capital assets. There's 26.7 million. There were 330,000 in current year additions, and depreciation on existing, all the assets was 883 million. So that was the decrease, just the existing assets were being depreciated. And then the unrestricted, which is that bottom line, the 3.4 million, it's up a little bit as well, so just slightly, but it's remained fairly steady there. All right, and then this is just the total for the whole city, the cash balances / investments. The governmental activities have 112 million, and the business type 71 million. So those are also trending upwards and in a healthy position there. So that was what I had. If there's any questions, happy to take those.
Councilmember Booth?
I just wanted to ask a question about your audit.
Yeah,
Does your audit, are you auditing numbers, or are you auditing how we put where we put the money?
it's more of how it's like the recording, like on the financial statements, the city says they have 112 million in cash. So we go in and verify, okay, is that what the city really has in cash? So we'll look at bank statements. So it's more the, I guess, the numbers, how they're reported and recorded. Make sure transactions are, well, we don't test every transaction, but we'll take a sample of transactions, make sure there's supporting documentation, and verify that that's a valid transaction, doesn't look.
So in accounting, you
unusual.
make sure there's the backup paperwork to the
Yep.
bill, so you'd go through and check some of those periodically.
Yep.
I just wanted to make it clear to everybody what your audit was all about.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Because sometimes they're different.
Yep, there's different types of audits. So ours is a financial statement audit, so it's focused more on the numbers, are the numbers that the city's reporting in their financial statements, are they accurate? Are they valid transactions that they're recording? So,
Okay. So we know where we're going. That helps a lot, yes.
yep.
Internal controls. What do you mean by the internal controls?
So internal controls are the kind of the policies or the structure that's in place to monitor various activities. So for example, in the cash disbursements process, what's the procedures and what are the controls in place? So is it required that someone else reviews and approves the transaction before it's paid? Are there multiple check signers? Those types of things are internal controls. So it's just checks and balances in place to make sure that the way that the processes work for different, cash disbursements, cash receipting, payroll, different areas in the city. Are there controls in place that help to make sure that the transactions are reported correctly, recorded correctly, are valid transactions? You're not paying some made-up vendor, or it's not just going into someone's pocket. So those are controls that are kind of in place. You know, if you can think of your own finances, you know, if you have a kid, you don't just give your kid the checkbook. You want to kind of look over, maybe give them, oh, the kid wants to go, you know, buy this one thing, so maybe you'll just give them a little bit of money to buy that one thing. You approve, yeah, you can go buy that. So it's kind of, if you relate to the city, it's kind of the similar.
And you're going to confirm
Yep.
that if you take cash in, you're not paying yourself cash?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that types of thing. So yeah, we don't audit controls, so we don't necessarily test we just have to get an, as our audit procedures, we just have to get an understanding. So we just, based on our understanding of your procedures, then that's what we'll report on. We don't necessarily pull a lot of transactions to test that what you say is the procedure is what's actually happening. We'll do a little bit, kind of walk it through the process and make sure it seems like it's functioning as stated and as the city's policies are set up. So.
What if you came and you saw something, then you would write us up and say, this person shouldn't be doing this, or this person shouldn't be doing that? Is that, if
Yep.
they're not following government procedure?
Yeah, so if something comes to our attention that looks unusual, then yeah, there's maybe different, it's depending on how severe we think the issue is, we'd write up a finding. Maybe it'd be more formal finding that we'd report to the board, or if it's something minor, maybe it's just something we chat with management about and say, yeah, maybe this area you could tighten up a little bit. But from our procedures, yeah, there's nothing that came to our attention that we needed to
You
report.
just did a
So,
great job, huh?
yeah.
My last question is a letter. I don't understand that totally. Where are you sending, who are you sending the letter? You're sending it to the department heads?
No, so there's a letter, it's the communication to those charged with governance. As part of auditing standards, we're supposed to issue this letter to the governing board.
Okay.
So it's just for you all and the city council.
So you don't
So-
go and give one to...
It's not for the department heads,
It's for
it's
us.
for the governing body. Yeah, and it just kind of walks through some of the audit procedures or things, high-level stuff that if there's anything that comes across as part of our audit, that's just a way to communicate with the governing board so that they're kind of apprised of maybe any issues that came up during the audit. So if we just gave it to management and it was about management, then then it wouldn't be, it wouldn't go to y'all to be able to help address the issues if there were issues. So it's just a way to communicate to the governing body that as processes and things through our audit that maybe if there's issues with management. We didn't have anything of note in there. It's just kind of a lot of the standard letter that we're just required to communicate with the governing board. But yeah,
Thank you.
yep.
Good explanations.
Do you have anything?
I do have a quick question.
Yeah.
17 million that got transferred out of the capital improvement fund over to,
It was the swimming pool fund.
to the swimming pool fund. Is the swimming pool fund in the non-major governmental fund?
Yes, it is. So where the city has so many there's a couple of funds that have pretty high lease receivable balances that kind of automatically push those into the major funds, if you will. Most of the rest of the funds outside of those that have large lease receivables kind of fall out and aren't required to be presented as major. But yeah, they're in the back of the schedules, there's the non-major funds. So they're still in here if you're interested in looking at those. But yeah, they're kind of in the back of the report. So.
Got it. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Good presentation.
Could you possibly, I don't know, bet out or go larger on what the 17 million was? Because I know that we had a voter approve of 9 million, and I think that might be a little concerning for people to see 17 million coming out of capital improvement, voter approved funds. Can you explain how that came to be?
Absolutely, happy to. Out of that fund, 1 million is the annual CIP funding that we do every single year. The remainder of it was a result of the voter approved ballot issues that actually approved us to to transfer that. So it was, logistically, we did a transfer, an accounting entry that transferred those dollars and the cash over into the swimming pool fund, which then, grows the balance in the swimming pool fund. But it was all tied to the voter approval on the ballot.
And was it multiple voter approval?
There were
But only
two.
taken out this year?
There were two ballots, I want to say 2019 maybe, and then the one last year. So as soon as that was, the election results were in, then we made the accounting entry to move the dollars over.
Okay, so those two ballot initiative were removed this year since we're moving forward with
Yes.
the pool so that we could put it in the place that it belonged. Where prior to that, it stayed in there because there was not movement on the pool yet.
It stayed in the the voter approved fund because we didn't have the voter approval yet to move it out. We didn't move the money until after
Okay.
the voters said yes.
Because I think that could get a little muddy if they didn't, they're like, what? All of a sudden, we didn't approve 17 million, we approved up to 9, and what happened, right? So, no, this is all part of a process that was a little bit longer going, so thank you for that. A couple of things, thank you very much for a presentation that I even understood, so that
All
was
right, yeah.
very nice. So, my sister, the accountant, she would love this. I almost loved it. So thank you, Crimson, very much, and thank you to you guys for the work that you did to come in to check. It's kind of like a checks and balances for us to make sure that the monies that we see year-round that are said to go to the places that they go to are going to the places that they're going to, and that we're being wise financial stewards for the monies that we are entrusted with here. And so thank you for checking up on us. And more
Yeah.
importantly, congratulations over here to get a clean audit, unmodified nonetheless, and to have rectified last year's in such a quick amount of time. So thank you to Mara and Cynthia and anyone else who had their hands in this for making sure that we as a city not just receive awards, but also come up with things like this, which is a clean audit that tells the people that we are truly in good faith doing what we need to be doing with the monies. So thank you so very, very much. I think at this time, we could look, is it just a motion to say that we accept the audit as given?
That is accurate. In addition, we want to have this committee recommend to the city council that the city council accepts the report.
Okay, so that needs to be part of the
motion,
recommendation and motion. Okay, do
Yes.
I have a motion for this?
I recommend that the annual compensation financial report moved on to the city council.
I second that motion.
Okay, we have a first and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. And with that, and thank you very
Yeah,
much.
Thanks
And
for
with
having
that-
me, and we appreciate the opportunity to, serve the city as your auditors, so.
Well, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, with that, we're going to move on to the last public comment. If there's anyone here in the chambers who would like to come up and say what a great job they did and how much we appreciate them, you're welcome to, since it looks like there's just us. Or if you are wanting to call in, please at 702-589-9629. Please call in for public comment. There is no one in the chamber at this time for public comment. If there's anyone who would like to call in, you have probably about a minute more to be able to do that. It's 702-589-9629. Madam City Clerk, do we have anyone on telephone? Not at this time. Okay, seeing no one on the telephone line, I want to say thank you to all the committee members who took their time to show up today, and to Finance Division, and to Crimson for coming today, and this meeting's adjourned.